You know those rare moments in life when you feel completely present? You know this feeling, like you're standing on top of the world. That's exactly what it felt like to hike Volcano Acatenango and witness the raw power of Fuego, one of the world's most active volcanoes. When we booked this, we thought we'd see lava. What we got was not what we expected. What we got was so much more. Located just outside Antigua, Guatemala, this 2-day trek is full of many emotions. You climb over 3,500 feet to a remote base camp, sleep above the clouds, and if you're up for it, you can even hike closer to Fuego as it erupts every 15 to 20 minutes, right in front of your eyes. Or at least that's what they say. But what is it really like? Is it as hard as they say? Is it worth the hype? In this video, we'll take you through every part of the journey. What to pack, trail conditions, toilet situation, food, cost, how to choose your tour company, and what we wish we would have known before starting. We will cover everything. Spoiler, this volcano hike will give you lots of black boogers, sore legs, and what feels like pounds of dirt in your shoes. All right, here we go. Walking to get picked up to start our trek. We started the first day of our trek in Antigua, where we got picked up at 6:45 a.m. to begin our journey. We decided to book our experience with V Hiking Tours after filtering through lots of different options, but ultimately decided on them based on lots of positive reviews, also based on a few other reasons we'll talk about later. We drove about 45 minutes outside of Antigua, growing in excitement as the volcanoes started to appear. Our first stop was at Elvin's home, who is the owner of V Hiking Tours. Gracias. Here we were fed an amazing breakfast from his family, which included fresh fruit, eggs, beans, sweet plantains, and my personal favorite, homemade warm tortillas. We also got to meet our guides and the other hikers who were going to be in our group. After a quick safety briefing and chat about what we could expect over the next few hours, we loaded up the van for a quick ride over to the trailhead. Vibes are good. Vibes are good to start. There's the start. Right away, we noticed just how popular this hike really is. We knew this going in after reading lots of reviews, but it is important to understand that you will be sharing the trail with lots of other people, especially during peak season, which usually runs from November to April. We are currently trekking in early April. Our group was 28 people, which actually seemed quite a bit smaller compared to some of the other groups that we saw. And just like that, we were off, starting at about 9:30 a.m. 16 minutes in. First little break. We've covered 0.3 miles, and I'm already sweating.
And we're done.
And we're done. We have been fortunate enough that this is not our first volcano trek, and all the other volcano treks we have done in the past have had a very similar start. Steep. And Acatenango was no different. We started off slowly, taking lots of breaks, and letting our heart rates adjust to the rising altitude. Our first long break included a stop in front of this awesome Acatenango sign, where we met some guys on their way down. To be honest, it had kind of looked like they had just rolled down the volcano based on how much dirt they had covering their bodies. They explained to us all the crazy adventures they had had over the last 24 hours,
It was still like the most beautiful sight I've ever seen, but it was like...
including a lost phone and lots of broken trekking poles. But overall, they got us so excited for what was to come.
That'll be like an hour away probably. We were going really slow because I was a little bit depressed at the start.
The trail starts off very dusty, sandy, and has lots of these loose rocks. Being that the ground is so soft at this portion of the trail, it can feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Believe it or not, after about 1 hour of hiking, that's when we reached the entrance of the park. Gracias. Here is where we took another brief break to split our group into 2 smaller groups, a fast group and a slow group. We went in the fast group, which later we found out might have been the wrong decision. In this part, we also noticed a dramatic difference in terrain and scenery.
Very much a rainforest.
We now entered the rainforest ecosystem with lush green trees and plants. The trail consisted of lots of steep switchbacks, but was much less slippery than the start. We did notice that this part of the trail was very humid and had almost no breeze from all the tree coverage, which made us very sweaty. You know that you're getting close to base camp when the trees start to clear and the winds pick up. So after about 4 hours and 10 minutes, we had reached base camp, our home for the night.
Bien hecho, amiga.
Yeah.
Bienvenido, amigo. Bien hecho.
So here's the stats from our first leg of the trip. 3,563 feet or 1,086 meters of elevation gain across 4.23 miles or 6.7 kilometers, and an average heart rate of 139 beats per minute. 1 packet of Skittles and gummy bears consumed, 45 black boogers, and very dirty legs.
It's gross.
This is what base camp looks like with V hiking. You have a place to sit down and rest your legs, a place to just relax and enjoy the view, which hopefully you will see later, assuming Mother Nature gets rid of all these darn clouds. There was also another sitting area where you could sit and enjoy a bonfire as the temperatures start to drop at night. Well, you're all probably wondering what the bathroom situation is, so let me show you. I can honestly say this is not the worst thing I've ever experienced, but for sure not the best either. But it did the trick. At least you had 4 walls for some privacy, unlike the bathroom we saw on our way up.
Ian and Meg.
Ian.
I-A-N.
Ian y Meg.
Ocho.
8. Número 8, chicos.
Now for where we sleep. We had cabin number 8. As you can see, it is simple but pretty spacious. It came with pillows and sleeping bags. Also had a very nice cushiony pad for sleeping. We paid a little extra to have our own cabin, which I will talk about at the end of the video when I give you a cost breakdown. Normally, if you don't pay extra, they put 3 people in each of these cabins. After settling in, we sat down to eat lunch, which we carried up ourselves but was provided by the tour company. It was kind of crazy how many plates and bowls were given to you, which seemed very unnecessary. Lunch was fruit juice, an apple, a granola bar, with the main dish being chicken, rice, veggies, and some pineapple. We both thought that lunch was not bad considering it was not refrigerated and we had been carrying it in our backpacks all day. Lunch is when we started to get some amazing views of Fuego. That got us so excited that we will hopefully get some good weather at sunset. But we also learned the weather moves quickly up here. Just as quick as the volcano appeared, it disappeared. But either way, gave us the energy we needed. Because after lunch, you had 2 options. You could either relax at base camp and enjoy the views from there, or you can take the extra hike to get up close and personal with Fuego, the active volcano. We had heard from some other people we had met on the trail and from our guides that the extra Fuego hike was challenging. But after seeing a glimpse at lunch of what Fuego looked like, we decided we could not pass up this opportunity to potentially see an active volcano shooting out lava. So we geared up in layers and grabbed our headlamps. We started this hike at 4 p.m. with the goal to arrive at Fuego with plenty of time to catch sunset. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Fuego, let me give you a quick rundown. It sits at 3,763 meters or 12,346 feet. Fuego means fire in Spanish, and it is famous for its frequent and dramatic eruptions. It regularly spews ash, gas, and lava into the sky, and under normal conditions, sometimes every 15 to 20 minutes. These eruptions can often be seen especially well at night when the red-hot lava lights up the darkness. These eruptions were the main reason I was drawn to this hike. I mean, are you kidding me? So when we booked this hike, that was the expectation. But unfortunately, just a few weeks before we did our trek, Fuego had a large eruption. And that large eruption changed its eruption pattern and has been quiet for weeks now. But we still had hope. The Fuego hike starts with a steep downhill hike for about 25 minutes. But you know what they say, what goes down must go up. Or is it what goes up must come down? Either way, you know what I mean. The last part of this hike was a slow grind, but man, was it worth it. We are fortunate enough to have done a few sunset and sunrise volcano treks, and they never disappoint. These moments in our lives are filled with so many emotions. We are proud of the effort we just put in. We are grateful to experience something only a few people in their lives will ever get to experience. It is in these moments when you feel like you are on top of the world, that you are truly present. It is so peaceful up here. Your stressors and worries are easily forgotten. To be honest, I completely forgot that this thing is normally spewing lava, or that the weather was not actually ideal. Whether you achieve the experience that was expected or not, we have learned that it is always worth the journey, even more so if that journey is hard. We honestly wish we could have slept right here on Fuego all night, but it was time to head back to base camp. You should note that this extra Fuego hike is very challenging. Meg actually had some issues with the altitude on the way back with headaches. After doing this hike as a pretty experienced hiker, I would only recommend doing this hike if you are experienced or you're in very good condition. It will be hard to enjoy this extra hike if you are not in good shape. We got back to base camp around 8 p.m. where a great dinner was served. And we finished with some roasted marshmallows. Then off to bed because we had a 3:45 a.m. wake-up call to get up and summit Acatenango.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I probably feel like a 3 or 4.
So apparently the conditions are not good enough for us to summit yet. So we're gonna wait, see if it clears up a bit. The weather did not clear up, so it was deemed unsafe to try and summit in the fog and rain. Us 24 hours ago would have been really bummed about this. But in that moment, we were actually thankful because I was very beat up from the Fuego hike yesterday, and Meg was dealing with some altitude headaches. So I would say it ended up working out. Let's talk about some things I would recommend packing. This is not a full list, but things we brought that we found really helpful amongst a couple of things we wish we would have brought. Good hiking shoes. Something that has a hard sole and is good in all terrain. Unfortunately, we ran into somebody that fell and broke their ankle wearing tennis shoes. I'm not saying this to scare you, just make sure that you are prepared with proper footwear. A buff. This was a must with all the dirt and dust. Layers. For us, this was a puffy jacket, rain jacket, and a lightweight long sleeve tee. Make sure you have a little first aid kit with medications with you. We lent out our first aid kit to so many people in our group. The things in our first aid kit that were most popular were the ibuprofen, Tums, and Imodium. So just make sure you have some of that stuff with you. Oh, and toilet paper. Now for some things that we did forget but wish we would have packed. Baby wipes, just to clean up a bit. On the same line, hand sanitizer. Our hands were gross. I would for sure also recommend hiking poles for the way down, especially being the way down is when most people fall, and we experienced that for ourselves and found that to be completely true. Going down was much more slippery than the way up. For some reason, on parts of the trail, they have barbed wire fence lining the trail. Not really sure that that is the safest thing, but having poles on the way down will give you more support, so if you slip, you don't fall and accidentally grab the barbed wire fence like I did.
Yep.
Some other things I should mention regarding packing. Most tour companies will rent you things like backpacks, shoes, gloves, hats, really anything that you might need, you can rent. That is really nice, honestly, just because if you don't want to pack all that stuff to your trip to Guatemala, you don't have to waste a ton of space in your suitcase. I personally rented some gloves because I forgot mine. My backpack weighed 11 kilograms or 24 pounds, and Meg's backpack weighed 10 kilograms or 22 pounds. You would not want to pack anything heavier than that if I were to give you a recommendation. Most of that weight was water and food, being that it was recommended that we each hike with 3 liters of water. But our backpacks got much lighter once we started doing some eating and drinking. You might be wondering what we paid for this experience. So here's the breakdown. We paid $110 per person for the tour and private cabin, which was $32 extra per person compared to the shared cabins. That price included transportation to and from Antigua, 4 meals, guide, entrance fees into the park, and camping stuff in the cabins. Other costs that were not included but we paid for was the extra Fuego hike at $26 per person, water and snacks at $10, glove rental 65 cents, giving the total cost right around $140 per person or $280 total for the both of us, not including a tip that we gave. This, by the way, is not the cheapest option, so if that price scares you, there are cheaper companies out there. Don't get me wrong, we usually just find the cheapest option and go with it, but we decided to treat ourselves and spend a little bit more with V hiking to get exactly what we were looking for. So why did we go with V hiking versus the other 39 tour companies that trek Acatenango? There were quite a few reasons. The first major reason was the amazing reviews. Good reviews on an experience like this always play a big role in our decision. From what we noticed, V hiking also had smaller group sizes compared to the others that have like 40 or 50 hikers in each group. We only had 28, which was nice. V hiking also offered a private cabin option, which a lot of other companies did not offer. They had a great base camp spot with great views of Fuego, which apparently is not the case for every company. One last thing that helped make our decision with which company we were going to go with was the fact that V hiking was owned by a local family. We have found booking with local companies give you an awesome cultural experience, as well as it just feels good to know that your tourist dollars are going to the right people. We did the same thing for our Everest base camp trek. Now, I'm not necessarily trying to sell you on V hiking. There are lots of great options out there, but just wanted to say we had a great experience with them and would recommend them. And maybe the owner might just personally wash your hands after the trek like he did ours. But no matter which company you choose to go with, all I can say is you have to do it. If you are planning a trip to Guatemala, this trek has to be on your list of things to do. If you didn't have plans on visiting Guatemala, but now do after watching this, go. Plan a trip. This truly was a bucket list experience, not just because of the volcanoes and lava, but rather the challenge, the journey, and probably what will stick in our brains the most after this experience is the people.
Oh, my stick got.
You guys.
He was telling us for truth.
We met so many amazing people with adventurous spirits, people that are up for anything, people that became friends in a matter of a few hours, people that inspire us to do more. Well, there it is. Hopefully this video gave you realistic and helpful information to help you prepare for your journey up Acatenango. Please feel free to ask any questions you have about this experience in the comments below. Thank you for watching this one. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We will see you in the next video.